Welcome back to my channel. I am Jamie Shifley and you are at home with the dietitian. Tonight I am going to be showing you how I make tofu. And some of you may have seen another video I did back in the spring, but that wasn't for my own channel. And I've had several requests for that video, but I don't own it. So now I am recreating the video with how I cook tofu, typically. We're doing that here tonight. So what I have purchased is extra firm tofu. And this I love because it holds its form, and you'll see what I'm going to do tonight with it. We want it to kind of stay in block form, and I'll show you that once we cut it up. So I purchased the extra firm tofu. It's very reasonable. This I got for $1.99 at our local store. I typically can get it sometimes for less than that. So for a protein, it is very reasonable. Okay, so we are now going to go over and drain our tofu in the sink. So let's head over here. All right, so what I do is I just cut along the edges here, around 3 sides, and then I just pour the liquid off into the sink. And then you'll be able to get your tofu. So I want to make sure that most of the liquid is out. This is what it looks like. And then I'm going to take it over and show you the next step. Okay, so we've got our tofu that's been drained, but there's still quite a bit of liquid in here. So we're going to take it out of its container, and I've got some paper towels here, and I am going to wrap the tofu in several paper towels. Now it is going to soak up the liquid pretty quickly, so you could keep adding paper towels if you want to draw more out. And then what I do, and these I have been actually sitting for a while already, is I take this is what a lake is for right now. I take a heavier container, you could even do some bigger cans, and then you just want to get some pressure on there to draw the liquid out. And then that will allow the tofu to soak up the flavoring that we're going to add in the oil in a few minutes. So I usually let that sit. If I think of it early enough, I might let it sit for a half an hour. If I decide I'm going to make the tofu, put that aside, pull out as much liquid as we can. Okay, so next, this one we're going to just get out of the way for now. As I said, these two have been draining for quite some time, so they should be fairly ready to go. Maeve has decided to join us tonight. I'm not sure if you can see her back there. There's Maeve. Okay, so we're gonna take off our paper towels and get these sliced up. Okay, so what I'm going to do is cut along the middle here, and that'll get cut there, and then I'm just going to do some blocks this way. Okay, and then we'll do that with the next one. Now, as far as amounts, for our family of 7, I often will do 3 blocks of tofu. If you have, if you're feeding 4 people, you could maybe get by with 1, but I would say do 2. Honestly, sometimes we could even do, I think I said 4. So anyway, all right, so we've got the blocks ready to go. It kind of depends on how much people eat and the ages of your kids and whatnot. For 2 people, I would say 2 people per block is about what I would say to feed. Because we're gonna pair this with some veggies and some brown rice. Okay, and then what I do is I take cornstarch and just put the cornstarch in a bowl. I don't measure, I would just say enough. You can add more if need be. That's maybe 3/4 of a cup it looks like for a couple blocks. And then I'm adding a little bit of garlic powder. Again, just a couple shakes. I would say that's probably about a teaspoon. Then we are going to just mix that up a little. Let's add, we'll say maybe a little bit more garlic. And then our next step is actually over at the stove. So what we will do is we will coat each little stick of tofu in the cornstarch mixture and cook it in our oil. So let's move over to the stove and do that. Okay, so now we are over at the stove, and I have heated in the skillet a couple tablespoons of canola oil. So it's already getting pretty hot, so I actually had to turn it down. Actually, let's get our light on. There we go. And so a couple tablespoons of canola oil. As you can see, it's already pretty warm. And then a drizzle of sesame oil. And sesame oil has this great, oh, it hasn't even been opened yet. Let's get that open. Sesame oil has a great nutty flavor. I've used it in a couple of my dishes already, and that really adds to the flavor of our dish. And they are both really healthy oils. So both canola oil and sesame oil are unsaturated fats, so they're a great way to get healthy fat into your diet. Okay, so as you see, I'm just going to toss this. That one sat a little bit, so it's got a little extra cornstarch on it. So this is our cornstarch and garlic powder mix, and then we'll just get that going. I'm going to turn it up a little bit here. So I'd heat it over medium to medium high, and then depending on how it's cooking, you can adjust. Oops, did I skip? I skipped that guy. All right. So we will go ahead and get the rest of these in our pan. Tofu is a great source of plant protein containing all 9 essential amino acids. The more firm the tofu, the higher the protein and calories and fat, with extra firm tofu containing 80 calories per 3-ounce serving, 9 grams of protein and 4 grams of fat. It is a good source of calcium and iron, and sometimes is fortified with vitamin D or vitamin B12. I'm actually moving the pan around a little bit just to make sure that the oil is evenly distributed in the pan. And now that we're starting to get a little bit of cooking happening with the tofu, I'm going to start turning them. So obviously you want to make sure they're cooked on all sides. So just slowly give them a little turn. And if you see that some of them are maybe browning a little bit too hard or too much or burning a little bit, then you can, turn your pan down. Sometimes I'll even just pull it off the heat for a little while, especially when I'm using a cast iron skillet, because that retains a lot of heat. But as you can see, here I'm going to pick this one up, and as you can see that it's starting to get a little crispy here. So that is looking good so far. So these have been cooking for a while, and as they cook, if you feel like some of the oil is being, too much is being pulled up into the tofu, then you can add a little bit more, which I did. Whew, that's even getting warm. And then I just slowly watch them, and I turn them. Takes, I'd say maybe 5-10 minutes to get them all evenly distributed, and you don't want them to burn. So we just kind of flip them around. Sometimes if one I feel like is not getting cooked enough, I'll kind of shift it more to the center of the pan. But these are looking like they're about done. Looks like we've gotten almost all the sides. So these are looking beautiful. So I'll just let them sizzle for another minute here. So I think these look great. And then what I'll usually do is take just a drizzling of just a little bit of soy sauce, kind of distribute it throughout, and that'll get it. And that's obviously going to cook with the oil pretty quickly. I don't like to do that until the end, otherwise we'll lose some of our crispiness. So this is ready to go onto our plate. Yeah, so good. A little bit of charring there. This will taste delicious. And you could cut these up because these are pretty big chunks here. And have some smaller bites, but that is tofu and this is delicious. So I hope you will not be afraid of tofu in the future. Get a nice little picture here of our tofu. So I'd love it if you tried tofu, if you haven't before. And usually I serve this with some brown rice and a quick stir fry. So I often just buy, you could do fresh, which is delicious, but if you're in a pinch and you want to get it done quick, just cook up a frozen stir fry in your pan, in your skillet, or if you have a wok, great. And this is a complete meal. When I serve this, the kids go nuts. So thanks as always for watching, and be sure to comment if you try the tofu. We love that. I've had several that tried after the first video. And thank you for watching At Home with the Dietitian. Be sure to like and subscribe and hit the notification bell so you get notified when I post a new video.